Am I the a-hole for exposing my best friend for cheating on her fiancé with his cousin during her wedding? I, 27F, was invited to the wedding of my best friend, Ava, 28F, who I've known since college. We were practically inseparable in our early 20s roommates, travel buddies, each other's emotional support systems through bad breakups and career chaos. So, of course, I was thrilled when she got engaged to Daniel, 30M, her boyfriend of 3 years. They seemed like a solid couple. Daniel is kind, soft-spoken, and has always treated Ava like she hung the moon. He came from money, but never flaunted it. Ava would always say, "He grounds me," and I truly thought they were good together. Until about 6 months before the wedding. That's when I found out by complete accident that Ava had been hooking up with Daniel's cousin Liam, 29M. I walked in on them in her apartment one night when I dropped by unannounced. They were half-dressed, and Liam tried to sneak out the back. Ava begged me not to tell Daniel. She swore it was a one-time mistake. I didn't believe her, and I told her flat out it was wrong. She gave me a sob story about how Liam understands her in a way Daniel doesn't, but she still planned to marry Daniel. She didn't want to ruin everything they built. I told her she either needed to come clean, or I'd feel obligated to say something myself. She ghosted me for 2 months. Ava eventually reached out, playing the "You're my best friend, I need you on my side" card. She apologized for ghosting me and said she wanted me at the wedding. I reluctantly agreed more out of curiosity than loyalty at that point. But I kept my distance. I didn't want to be involved in her drama anymore, but I also didn't have definitive proof she was still cheating. Part of me hoped she'd ended it with Liam and made the choice to be faithful moving forward.
Wrong.
2 weeks before the wedding, I saw her car parked outside Liam's apartment at 11:30 p.m. I waited. She didn't leave until nearly 3 a.m. I knew then this wasn't over. It hadn't ever stopped. The worst part? I saw Daniel that same week. He was glowing, telling me about how excited he was to start a new life with Ava. I could barely look him in the eye. I started thinking, do I say something? Do I wait? Do I ruin a wedding with 150 guests just to be the honest one? I talked to 2 close friends, mutuals of ours, and both told me to stay out of it. But my gut told me this was wrong. So, very wrong. The wedding was extravagant. Think garden venue, string quartet, champagne fountains, the whole Pinterest dream board. Ava looked stunning, like a princess. Liam was there, of course, Daniel's cousin and a groomsman. I watched her exchange vows knowing full well she'd been sleeping with a man standing 10 feet behind Daniel. I started sweating, shaking. I kept telling myself, don't ruin this. Not now. Not here. But then it happened. During the reception, Ava pulled Liam aside near the catering tent. I was walking back from the restroom and saw them kissing. Like full-on no regard for anyone kissing, in her wedding dress. That was it for me. I snapped a photo. I walked straight up to Daniel, who was chatting with guests, pulled him aside, and showed him the picture. I didn't say anything else, just handed him my phone. His face went white. He looked at me and just said, "Is this today?" I nodded. Chaos. Daniel walked straight over to Ava and asked to speak with her. I don't know what was said, but 10 minutes later he was gone. Vanished. His parents were whispering, people were noticing. Ava looked pale and tried to keep smiling like nothing had happened. Then Daniel's mom made an announcement that the groom had taken ill and would be leaving early. Some guests began whispering. Others made awkward exits. I left before things got worse. Later that night, I got a barrage of texts from Ava. She called me AB*TCH, a backstabber, a fake friend. She said I had ruined her life and that she was going to break it off with Liam eventually, but I forced her hand. Mutual friends are divided. Some say I did the right thing. Others think I should have waited until after the wedding and not embarrassed her in front of everyone. Now I'm seriously conflicted. I didn't do this out of revenge or drama. I genuinely couldn't stomach the idea of Daniel being humiliated like this, devoting his life to someone who had been lying for months. But I also know I dropped a nuclear bomb on a wedding day, and that's not something people forget. Ava and I, definitely done. Daniel messaged me a few days later, thanking me. He said it hurt, but that he was glad he found out before the marriage became legal. He also said he'd suspected something but never imagined it was with Liam. So now I'm sitting here, replaying everything. Was I wrong to blow it up at the wedding? Should I have waited? Or did Ava get exactly what she deserved? Am I the a-hole? Edit. I've been keeping this story for over a year. I never intended to share it publicly, honestly. It's been eating away at me quietly since the day it happened. What I didn't mention in the original post is what happened after the wedding chaos. The next morning, my mom called me in tears, and then she screamed at me. Apparently, Ava and possibly Liam had told a completely twisted version of events to their side of the family and mutual friends. Not only that, but Ava had sent out a bunch of texts to people calling me a jealous snake, and somehow I became the villain in her narrative. She posted vague Instagram stories implying I had been in love with Daniel and wanted to steal her wedding moment. My mom received dozens of hateful messages, some from Ava, some from people I didn't even know, friends of Ava's, apparently. One even said, "Your daughter deserves to die alone." Another one said I destroyed the most beautiful day of someone's life because of jealousy.
It was horrifying.
I cried for days. But the worst part? My mom believed them. She said I humiliated our family, that I should have stayed out of it, that I always insert myself where I don't belong. And then she said something I'll never forget. "You embarrass me more than Ava embarrassed herself." We haven't spoken in months. She blocked my number. My aunt stopped talking to me. It's like I committed a crime instead of telling the truth. I've been guilt-tripping myself ever since, wondering if I had done it out of pride or anger. Wondering if I was just trying to ruin Ava's moment. Maybe I could have waited. Maybe I should have sent the photo after the honeymoon. I don't know. I've just been stuck in this internal loop of shame and self-doubt. But then recently, a friend of mine, someone who was also at the wedding who knows the real story, reached out. They sent me a link to a Charlotte Doe video and said, "You need to stop guilt-keeping the truth. You're not the villain here." That message hit me like a freight train.
So here I am,
posting this anonymously on Reddit, not to be petty or dramatic, but because for the first time in a year, I need to release the guilt that never belonged to me in the first place.